I went back as an adult and watched Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and there was way more subtext to this 85-year-old movie than I remembered. I may be overthinking it, but did Walt Disney make a film that celebrated free love and open sexuality? The magic mirror told the queen that she was the fairest in all the land, until seemingly overnight, it recalculated things and decided abruptly that Snow White earned that title. What else happened overnight? Snow White had her first period. In medieval times, a woman's menstruation is what made her of age for marriage and procreation, meaning the mirror had been watching this underage virgin and knew the very moment she became legal. The middle-aged huntsman was ordered to kill the princess for being pretty and barely legal, and I'm confident the implication here does not need to be stated aloud, though a conversation should be had about how much consent someone can give when they don't really know what it is they're consenting to. Assuming, of course, that a cornered and terrified teenager even consented. Still, whatever happened between the shrubs proved enough to spare her life, though the terror and confusion of it all was hinted at by feeling like greedy hands were pulling at her clothes and eyes were leering from every direction. Snow White further suggests that she did more than just run through the woods when she was found lying unconscious in the morning. Yet the huntsman introduced her to the transactional nature of free sex, and it was a lesson she would soon utilize. Snow White enjoyed shelter and food in exchange for taking care of the dwarves, and she quickly became comfortable with physical displays of affection, despite running away from Prince Charming out of general social awkwardness. This hints to what else was happening inside that tiny cottage, meaning that the full spectrum of open sex and free love was shown to Snow White, because each dwarf specialized in his own fetish category, from whom she experienced every range of kink and desire. Doc is a giver, not a taker, and represents knowledgeable sex kinks. These include sensation play, wax play, impact play, general orgasm control, and others. Also, Doc himself is into age play to complement his superiority complex. Grumpy is about mutual aggression and represents dominant sex kinks. These include dirty talk, bondage, masochism, and others. Also, Grumpy himself is into consensual non-consent to complement his anti-woman stance. Sneezy is a walking trigger warning and represents bodily fluid kinks. These include facials, golden showers, vomit, and others. Also, Sneezy himself is into asphyxiation to complement everyone smothering his breath. Bashful is a willing outsider and represents self-worth kinks. These include voyeurism, cuckolding, humiliation, and others. Also, Bashful himself is into exhibitionism to complement the man beneath his hideaway persona. Happy is enthusiastic and passionate and represents positivity kinks. These include a praise fetish, body worship, foot fetish, and others. Also, Happy himself is into homoeroticism to complement his desire to share love with everyone. Sleepy does not have the energy for penetration and represents foreplay kinks. These include kissing, cuddling, mutual masturbation, and others. Also, Sleepy himself is into somnophilia to complement his motif of lying in bed. Dopey is always obedient and represents submissive kinks. He consents to everyone wanting to do anything and never utters a word of protest or limit. Also, Dopey himself is into foreplay to complement his blank slate of a personality. The broader, sexier world would no doubt fill in the gaps of Snow White's 7-member curriculum, from furries to latex and everything in between. around, above, below, and inside. Still, her time with the dwarves rewarded her with an education few well-adjusted teenagers possess. Apples have always been a symbol of fertility in any culture that possessed them. Even in the phrase, "the apple doesn't fall far from the tree," the apple represents a kid who's just like their parent. And having children dominates your time. Just ask every responsible parent ever. So, in this dubious respect, fertility is a poison to a free love and open sex lifestyle. Meaning, a stranger to the cottage did not actually poison her. He got Snow White pregnant, and she recalculated her priorities when she realized what a missed period meant. She was not dead to the world of open sex and free love, but she wasn't among them either. The dwarves didn't bury her because they held onto the hope that their impressionable vixen would eventually return to them. Probably whenever her children were old enough to gain some independence. Prince Charming thought she was dead. I want to be very clear about that. He heard about a dead girl in a glass coffin and traveled to it deliberately, fully expecting to have his way with a preserved corpse. Necrophilia is his kink. But unexpectedly, Snow White woke up immediately and Prince Charming just kinda rolled with it. Then he whisked her off to a life of consequence-free sex in the great golden orgy of his home, where Snow White would become an active member of the fetish community. However, subtext around that ending paints a darker picture. Charming is connected to death because that is what he came for. So, if the apple metaphor means that fertility is the poison, and someone connected to death kissed Snow White on the lips, and that act restored her old self to its former glory, then it kinda reads that Charming arranged for an abortion. Okay, this movie is a product of the 1930s. And a more fitting translation is that Snow White only found true love after she was taught how to please a man, and the anachronistic servitude of women is a facet of society we're only gradually pulling away from. But we are evolving. Snow White may have been trained for the pleasure of men, yet you do not have to squint very hard to find a modern message of empowerment through self-discovery between the lines of a story that middle-aged men hoped young girls would emulate. Of course, I could be wrong. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. Maybe subtle raunchiness has never been an aspect of Walt Disney movies. And maybe reading sexy translations into a movie is the second laziest form of theory crafting. But I kinda like my theory better, so I'm rolling with it. Until next time, keep reading between them lines. If you enjoyed this theory, you should totally check out my Batman video, where I connect Gotham City's rogue gallery of villains to the foodie movies that they're secretly in. Check it out. And please, take care of yourselves out there, and I'll talk at you next time.